With under 2 weeks to go until the first round of the snap parliamentary poll in France, the president is defending his decision. Emmanuel Macron calls the move the most responsible. His decision has pushed France into the political unknown and triggered alliances forming on both the left as well as the far right.
The solution I've taken is the hardest, the most serious. But it's the most responsible, the least bad. And I think the mayor is right. At times like these, by definition, there are no miracles. But changing the prime minister and the government was an easy way out. Holding a referendum to re-legitimize myself was another approach. The people have to be able to decide, and I have confidence in the people.
We can now bring in France 24's International Affairs editor, Angela Diffley. Angela, good afternoon. Great to see you. There are several issues dominating this campaign. One of them is the issue of the ability to govern France.
Yes, there's been a lot of discussion about if it looks like the the centre ground, Macron's party, are going to be squeezed. It is possible that there might be a huge left-wing bloc stretching to a considerable far-left contingent and a huge right-wing bloc equally with a far-right contingent, a main far-right contingent. And there's a lot of worry about what that will look like in Parliament, whether Parliament will become unworkable, because it's likely that such a government would immediately be toppled in October. They have to vote on the French budget in October, and it's very likely that a government of either side would immediately be toppled and throw the country back into chaos. It's really very unclear what would happen. Macron could not call more legislative elections. You can only do that once a year.
Yeah.
If he were to resign as president, and he has said he won't, then a new president cannot dissolve the National Assembly either. And so it would be this very untrodden path, a sort of limbo. There's talk perhaps of some technocrat being appointed instead, because Macron is the person who would appoint such a prime minister. It has to be said, Macron is getting huge flack for this decision to dissolve the National Assembly and call elections. It has, on the other hand, really concentrated people's minds. And we're seeing a very, very interesting selection of ideas being discussed in this campaign.
Now, Angela, a violent crime is dominating the airwaves here in France today. How is this playing into the campaign?
Yes, this is two 13-year-old boys who have been charged with the rape of a 12-year-old Jewish girl and using anti-Semitic insults. It is a crime which shocks on so many levels and has immediately been thrust right into the centre of this political campaign. It puts right at the front of the campaign two issues. One is the issue of violent crime being on the increase and a breakdown in law and order. Now, that always polls very well for the Rassemblement National. Yeah. There is a debate. This happened in 2002, when Jean-Marie Le Pen got in. What happened was that there was a dramatic, violent crime beforehand, and it's thought to have swayed a lot of people's voting intentions. The left always say horrifying such incidents are isolated. The right say this is an example of what is going on, and it should not be disregarded, and people should not be told that it is a figment of their imagination. So that has been thrust straight into the centre of the campaign. The other issue is, of course, anti-Semitism. Now, on this, there is a rise in anti-Semitism in France. Both the far right and the far left are accusing each other. Those who accuse the far right say that the party is rooted in anti-Semitism, and although it professes to have shed it, has not. Those who criticise the far left say that they have willfully, on occasions, members of the far left, blurred the lines between Israeli government policy and French Jews in France. And it is a difficult issue in the background of this election. France doesn't collect ethnic statistics. There is no identifiable Jewish vote. And in any case, this is about the problem of anti-Semitism. It is not just one community that will be worried by this.
And of course, those on the far left are being accused of Islamo-gauchism. I don't know how we translate that into English, but
Yeah, I think what is really interesting about this is that, as usual, this very short campaign has forced issues to the front. As usual, media usually try to tidily address issue after issue, the environment, the economy. Sometimes things go right to the front of the campaign, and this short campaign has lent itself to that.
thank you very much for that, Angela. Angela Diffley there.